Now, can we start off this video by dropping some of those in the comments down below for how much you liked the opening cinematic showcase? Hi everyone, welcome back to the Wolfpack. Today we are talking about Unfair. So first off, thank you so much to Good Games Publishing for sponsoring today's video. Today, we're talking about Unfair, which has a brand new expansion. I will leave links to the Kickstarter down below if you are interested. But we're gonna go over the base game, followed by the first expansion, and then talk about the latest expansion and what all of that introduces as well. So for everyone that is new to Unfair, let me tell you a little bit about how this game works. This is a city building card game. Your goal in this game is to build the most epic, most grand theme park that has ever been built. So here's how your turn works. You have different phases of this game that is marked by a little roller coaster mini that's gonna go down this track on the main board here. So we start off with the event phase. These are the green cards that have a top section and a bottom section. The top section is going to give you an instantaneous effect, one that's going to be activated immediately, and the bottom one is one that's going to be activated down the line. This game is all about combo building across a lot of the cards. So for example, if I were to play Treasure Trove here, which is a pirate event card, I can actually keep any card that I draw from an action. Now if I pair that with Recycling, which is a jungle event card, this one says to reveal the top 3 park cards, pick one to build for free, and then discard the rest. But because I played Treasure Trove, I get to actually keep all the cards that I just drew. Now from there, we move the slider down and reach the event city phase. Now in the first part of the game, the city is going to reward you with different incentives if you meet the criteria that's listed on the card. However, the city isn't always funfair. Sometimes it gets unfair. So halfway through the city cards, you actually reach these unfair city cards, and from there, the last half of the game is going to be more destructive. Instead, you're gonna have negative events to deal with. So we have events, we have city cards, and now let's go ahead and build up our park. Now you first need to play an attraction. This type of card is going to be the base for your city, and you start off with 20 coins, and all you do to play the card is just pay the cost listed up top in order to build that attraction, which is going to be one out of the 4 actions that you can take. 1 to build. So once you have an attraction, you can then upgrade those attractions. You can also hire staff to take care of your theme park as well. Let me go ahead and pick a random, totally unscripted, completely unplanned card from the park deck and hope that it's a staff member to show you an example. Oh look, here is a photographer card. This one says once per guest step, gain 5 extra coins for each open leisure ride in your park, and also scores 3 victory points in the end as well. Wow, what are the chances of that happening? Me pulling. So we have attractions that start off as our base. We have upgrades that we can add to those attractions, and we can also hire staff members, and they'll usually give us different abilities that we can also use as well. Now at the beginning of every game, you also have access to 1 out of 2 super attractions that you can choose from. These super attractions give you very strong abilities. So for example, here are 2 super attractions for the Ninja theme deck. We have the Shadow Dragon, and we have the Ninja Trek House. The Shadow Dragon breaks down an upgrade in any park, and the Trick House allows us to move any upgrades in our park. Now all that was to build, but let's say we're looking for different cards in the market or on the board in general. The second action is to take. Here you can take a card directly from the market. You could also draw 2 cards from the park deck, from the events deck, or also the blueprints deck. Or you can even discard a card to draw 5 cards from the park deck if you're really searching for a specific piece. So the events deck is going to give you different choices in the beginning. We have the city cards, which give you different incentives if you fill them during that phase, during that round of gameplay. And then we have the park deck, which is full of attractions and upgrades and staff members that you can hire. From there, the last set of cards that we have on the deck are blueprint cards. Now these are all about your end game scoring conditions. Now blueprint cards give you a ton of victory points at the end of the game if you are able to complete the objectives listed at the very top. The bottom is usually the bonus target, so if you complete this along with this, then you'll gain these bonus points as well. And you also have to be careful because you'll notice here how the bottom left says a difficulty level. This one says difficult, so that's one of the harder ones. That'll tell you how feasible it is to meet these conditions. And on top of that, if you don't meet them, there's actually a penalty for this specific one. There's a penalty if it is incomplete. So if you have this card and you're not able to have a sideshow with any quality upgrade, then you actually will lose 10 points. Now in case we built something and we don't want it anymore, we can actually demo it out. That's the third action. And number 4 is loose change, because we got a ton of guests visiting our parks, right? Some of them are gonna lose some coins, some cash that are falling out of their pocket. From there, we get to actually take some of those coins that are on the ground, and you get 1 coin per attraction. So we have build, take, demo, and loose change as our 4 actions. Now that is the gist of how the game works. We start off by playing events, we're meeting different city incentives, we're going throughout the park and building attractions and upgrading them, hiring different staff. We get to the guest phase. Now this is pretty much the income phase. The bigger your park, then the more coins that you score. And then we get to the cleanup phase where the market resets. And then we'll pass this first player marker on to the next player. That is how Unfair works. Now, if it seems like there's a lot going on, if it seems kind of intimidating, they've actually included this first date card, which will actually dial down the rules a little bit. That way it's more accessible for play. Now in the first expansion, aliens have arrived and they offer alien tech, giving you access to a new type of income, but you gotta be careful because members of your staff can be abducted. They even have alien nanotech, which can morph into different cars and help you complete blueprints at the end of the game. And then you have B movies, which are not A movies and have a questionable amount of decisions, but that doesn't mean that they can't pull off something grand and spectacular. This theme pack enables panorama scoring, which puts cars side by side, even from the base game, in order for you to score points. Number 3 are the dinosaurs. They have finally been discovered, and this theme lets you build a separate set of dinosaur upgrades, but of course, nothing can actually contain dinosaurs, so they kind of act as like a double-edged sword in your park. Here I have Discovery Hall letting me build a dinosaur for free, so I have the Velociraptor, but I have to keep rolling higher than the 4 in order to keep this Velociraptor in the hall. Luckily though, I got my electrified fence, which keeps it in place and cancels that ability as well, and I even have an animal feed seller, who in turn is going to give me 3 coins during the guest phase for having this Velociraptor in my park. Last theme in this expansion is the Western theme, with gunslingers having a good old fight with other staff. This theme is all about building, so it increases your park size, and like the Wild Wild West, there are robberies happening here too. So Aliens, B-Movies, Dinosaurs, and Western is the very first expansion, and the latest expansion introduces 4 more, plus, as you saw in the cinematic, a solo mode now. And since Unfair is, well, about playing unfair, there is actually a ton of take that mechanics. Now if you don't like that, this expansion introduces World Peace. Now these cards are called Game Changers, and they completely affect the type of game that you'll be playing. World Peace ensures that all the stuff that you're doing to other players has now been rendered inactive. So first up we have Comic Book, which gives staff power-up cards and introduces a new type of card called Masterminds. These are super-powered staff that give you unique abilities. You can also power them up, and the more that you do, the stronger their abilities will become. Like here we have Bright Spark, and all Mastermind cards have the same level 1 ability, but her unique level 2 lets you draw or discard a blueprint. And Masterminds will then take a villainous turn. So if you use their level 3 ability, which are super powerful, here her ability lets you gain coins equal to the point value with the bonus. But after that, they will leave your park. Number 2 are the hackers. Now these introduce Wi-Fi symbols that you can offer to guests, but the more that they take from you, the easier it'll be for you to take back. Now your hackers can steal money from them, they can close their parks, they can open their parks, and they can even do both. Gain money while closing their park. Then we have the Kaiju. They are giant monsters that replace the unfair city cards in the very last half of the game. These monsters are here to destroy your city. You're gonna be rolling dice to see if they have a successful attack every turn, and they also are permanent. Yep, you heard that right. They are permanent, but there are ways to attack them and ultimately defeat them. Now the good thing is you can attack them and defeat them using various cards, and you can also fire missiles at them, and with every successful attack, you'll actually score one of these medallions. Now these medallions are worth 10 victory points, but you can also exchange them for coins as well. That is what happens when you attack a Kaiju. And the 4th theme is the ocean, which will introduce sea creatures and rich resources. Also some really annoying seagulls that are gonna pester your parks. You have manta rays, which give you extra coins during each step, along with dolphins, rewarding you with being the only animal upgrade in that attraction. And there are also sea lions that give you extra coins for being in different attraction slots as well. And lastly, this expansion introduces solo mode with Quinn. Now this AI is a warehouse of supplies that can hold 5 attractions, unlimited resources, staff, and a bunch of other items. It plays like an interactive 2-player game with this flowchart that will tell you how Quinn will act, and Quinn can also attack you and defend itself from your attacks. And that is Unfair, now with 14 different themes, along with a solo mode, world peace, and a bunch of other components that we talked about today. Let me know down in the comments below if Unfair is something that you played before, if this is something that you're interested in. I would love to know. And links to the Kickstarter is down below. Thank you all so much for being here, as always, on the road to 15K, and I will see you all in the next video.